All right. Hey, everybody. Turning on microphone. That'll help. So, welcome into the Brion Show. Okay. So, this is going to be exciting. This is my first full stream. And I'm realizing that my microphone is very sensitive, which is cool because I'm sensitive too. But don't mistake sensitivity with power or something like that. All right. So, welcome in, everybody. So if you don't know me, my name is Brion Davis DeVille. I am an actor, director, coach, transformational mentor, and I support people overcoming any obstacle in their life, something that they want to create, a vision that they want to have, but they feel like some things are in the way and they don't know how to overcome those obstacles. So today I'm just going to be going through an old webinar of mine. I'm going to be practicing. I'm going to be utilizing some of that information inside the stream. I really want to connect. I really want to connect with you. Anytime you have a question, anything that you need to discuss, this is what my intention is that this gets to be a very safe place for people to be authentic and vulnerable and explore possibility. That's my MO. If you're coming into the chat, let me know what the audio sounds like. Let me know what you're experiencing so that I can adjust whatever I need to adjust as we move along. I'm really excited about this. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. Charlie's been on me and supporting me, as this can be a really great mechanic to reach people and connect with people. I don't know what all is in store. I know that Mondays I want to do a program that supports men specifically. Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm going to be doing a stream around utilizing the acting process, the process that actors use, the discovery, the exploration, the observation of the human experience and the human condition to elevate your life. So there's a lot of really great parallels to the process of being an artist that you can incorporate into your life that are really beneficial. Some things that work really well for actors and that don't really work well for, real life experiences. Why? Because in scripts we want drama, we want conflict, we want those things to fuel the story that we're telling. Whereas in real life, we want to approach things with a more stoic approach, acknowledging our feelings, acknowledging what is going on. Those feelings are justified. However, how we act and how we react to those feelings is often what gets to be taken into consideration. So, one of the other things that I really want to do, because I spend a lot of time on Twitter, too much time probably, but it's another fascinating vehicle for me to explore the human experience. And I see a lot of, really great philosophy happening on Twitter and a lot of really great connection happening on Twitter, but so often, more often than that, there's a lot of vitriol, a lot of calling names, and it's really interesting to watch the process of how we treat each other. How do we communicate with each other and one another when we have the shield of social media in front of us? How are we showing up authentically? Would I say what I'm saying to a person on social media if I was with them in person? That's one of the things that I always try to keep in mind. Now, I like going into Twitter and utilizing humor to offer another perspective. I usually combat derogatory things with checking in with my beingness, so I offer another opportunity to look at another approach. So I will shift a beingness. If I feel triggered by something, I'll shift and go, okay, how can I approach this with well-meaning, with love, with intelligence, with facts, usually resourced from a few other arenas. So today, we are going to talk about trust, and I'm going to do an old webinar that I did last year, and I'm going to go through it, and it'll be my first time going through it in about a year, so I'm going to look for things to update. I'm going to look for questions from you guys that I can incorporate into the process. You can check me out at briondavisglobal.com. And you will see my experience. You can see some of the things I've done. And then now I'm really excited to be at this foundation of where the rest of my career is going to go in terms of supporting other people and helping other people. Cuckoo Mama in the house. Welcome. Welcome to my first full live stream. I've kind of given the layout of what to anticipate. Today, I'm really just going to be playing around. So anything that tips or advice or what you're receiving in terms of audio, visual, anything that you want to throw out at me, feedback is always really welcome. So if you don't know who I am, I am Breon Davis DeVell, actor. I am a creator, a director, a personal, a transformational mentor, and a life coach. So those are the things that I do. I do public speaking, and my goal and intention is to transform the narrative around how we approach a given thing. So today we're going to talk about trust. We're going to talk about building trust and how and where that begins. So there we go. So this is a webinar I did about a year ago. I'm repeating myself just because Cuckoo Mama, I want to keep you up to date. And I'm going to be going through it, exploring some things. So if you have any questions, if you want to add some information, if you want to throw out anything that lands, Charlie's going to come in and change something really quick. Okay, awesome. The sound is better on the scene. I'm going to come in and change it. Okay, so the scene needs to change. Cool. All right. Here we go.
Which one were you? What was the first one?
Main. Yeah.
Okay, there's 2 microphones happening.
Oh, that's in here. Go to...
No, I think this is it. Otherwise, Keynote is 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. So this one, mute this one.
Oh, okay.
I think, right? Yeah, because that one's still working. It's the same one. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. It helps to have a tech support living in your home and as your husband. So all good now, Cuckoo Mama? Awesome. So I'm so glad to see you, Cuckoo Mama. This is a little bit of a different environment than I'm usually in, that you see me in with Charlie, bringing the dance, bringing the fun. We are going to have those experiences. Today is literally just a foundation. It's a commitment to going live, as we all have experienced kind of the resistance to our first full live stream. So let me know if you have any questions. All right. So trust building is like the aspect of trust lives in our relationships, how we view our future, how we interpret, how we create a perspective around something, or we tell stories in our heads about something rather than communicating those things, and just acknowledging that our perspective, our experience is one thing based on our life experience. So how we perceive something is all based on our life experience. So how we relate to the idea, the feeling, the concept of trust is all based on our life experience. So we all come from a different background. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs will explain that all humans live under the same basic needs, right? So we have the physiological needs, we have the need to belong, the need to have love, the need to have romance, all the way up the pyramid to the idea of esteem and prestige, and then finally self-actualization. Now, self-actualization can actually occur in any one of those moments, right? What makes us all different is our personal life experience, and that is what's really, really important to take into consideration when you're communicating with other people. So how I communicate with someone could trigger them, because I can be controlling, I can be very upfront, very direct, I don't beat around the bush very often, and if I'm communicating with someone where that might trigger them, I'm going to kind of shift how I relate to them. So that's really important. And it's important for us to communicate. So often we tell stories in our heads. We tell stories about what a situation is rather than communicating it out loud. So we're left at a loss, and then we start spinning, right? We start feeling the world is against me or whatever. So here we go. Trust build. Here is the trust building webinar. And this has proven to me in all the leadership teams that I've led, all the coaching for actors, the coaching for people in entrepreneurship and moving forward with their businesses. It all works across the board. So this is a really nice beginning, and it also, to start building trust, you, me, us having this relationship of trust, and inside this community where we feel safe to communicate, where we feel safe to ask questions, and there is no judgment here. You can ask me anything, and I will always approach it from a place of possibility and absolute no judgment. So yeah, clear agenda. This clear agenda has proven to demonstrate strategies that will strengthen your ability to say no to the things that no longer serve you. Now, next week I'm going to be starting on a self empowerment pioneer experience. So next week I'm going to be doing basically a 21-day stretch where I'm going to be getting rid of certain things in my life that I know no longer serve me. And every year I do kind of a cleansing around certain things. We've kind of find ourselves in a situation where we are kind of going by we're repeating habits. We're doing things that aren't serving us, but we get to really look at those and shift. We get to really shift those things that aren't working for us. Okay? The Funk Shop is in the house, trying to learn. All right, well, I got you, buddy. So this is where you can come and share, and you're not going to be judged. You can ask any question you want. You can communicate with me, and we are going to get over any obstacles, anything that you're resisting, anything that you're afraid of. Throw them up in the chats, and we can talk about them. But yeah, Trust Build webinar is where we begin. So this is a time for us to acknowledge what's holding us back. It's time for you to acknowledge so that you can step into your power, your leadership, and your position in whatever industry that you want, and whatever industry that you want to create for yourself. It begins with you and shifting you. Let's all get smart over something. Yes, that's why we're here. So that when we go over to DeVell House, we can dance away our troubles and connect in that way too. So what we want to do is we want to kind of explore the possibility around the vision, things that we want to create in our lives, things that we want to create for others, something bigger than ourselves. Because what happens is that if we don't have that something bigger than ourselves, then ourselves get in the way of fear, things, negative self-talk, experiences in our past that didn't follow through, so that we have ourselves held captive by these lies that we tell ourselves, not good enough, it'll never happen for me, things like that. And those are all lies. I mean, if you say that and you believe that, then that will be true. So we want to commit to a vision. We want to spend some time creating whatever that vision is, and this vision gets to be unwavering. It gets to be something that is so powerful and in service of others and in service of your best self that any obstacle that comes in the way of you is literally just you perceive it in a way that is just navigating you to another direction, maybe a better way of exploring and getting to that vision. All right, so here we go. All right, so so I did this about a year ago, and today I'm going to kind of revisit it. I'm going to make some changes based on, if you guys have any questions or any things that are not clear, I'm happy to address those. All right. Kukumama, really good at the negative self-talk around DJing and Twitch stuff. Yeah, okay, great. So that's a really great acknowledgement. So I'm really good at the negative self-talk. So ask yourself where that comes from, right? So ask yourself, like, who told you? Now we're going to go right in, right? So ask yourself, who told you at some point that you weren't good enough? Who told you at some point that you couldn't achieve something? So I can either choose to listen to that message, right, which is a very safe, comfortable place, because that's how we continue. But
you're ignoring my chats. I need you to make me a mod.
Oh, he's making himself a mod.
I think it did it.
Oh, I thought you were a mod already.
I thought I was too. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Awesome. So, all right. So asking yourself, what is it who told you that at some point that you started to believe it, and then that kept you in a place that kept you safe? Then there are others out there, people that you surround yourself with, that are going to empower you, right? Like Kukumama, Charlie and I love watching your streams. We think you're great. We think that we love the music you play. We love your energy. We love your vibe. Now, I have two choices. I can either start believing that and start telling myself that, or I can tell myself the things that are holding me back or keeping me playing small, right? So we can go into further. I told myself, yes. So, but that came from somewhere. It came from somewhere outside of yourself that made you believe that was the story that you want to tell yourself. So it might require you doing some journaling. It might require you to go in a little deeper and say, you know what? And it could have been a small thing. I'll share with you. When I was in first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, every single year, I had a teacher that would tell me something or a situation that would happen that, if I had believed them, would have kept me playing small the rest of my life. So what I ended up creating was this, a lot of people, if they had experienced what I experienced, would have become rebels. My brother was a little bit more of a rebel than I was. But what I did is I created this thing where I had to go above and beyond to make sure that everybody liked me, and I did all this work to make sure no one could misunderstand me. And what ended up happening is I exerted a lot of wasted energy on people that were just never going to want to understand me. Second grade, I had a teacher that told me, if you don't go play with so I loved playing on the monkey bars and I loved playing pretend. And I didn't like playing the sports. It was boring to me. And I loved doing theatrical things. I loved doing fun things like that. And so I always played, inevitably, I just played with the girls because that's what they were doing. They were swinging on the monkey bars, playing on the gymnasium. They were playing pretend. And so what ended up happening is I created, this second grade teacher told me, if you don't go play with the little boys, I'm going to put a dress on you. Now, imagine that happening today, right? In my mind, I was like, oh, okay, then I get to pretend I can be another character. I can pretend. But in my childlike mentality, I just thought, well, that's another possibility. And so third grade, fourth grade, every year, there were little things that happened that formed who I was. Adults were telling me who I was. Every year, I would advance in courses. Every year in school, I would do really, really well in courses, but every year I would take the SAT and they would put me back in remedial classes. Well, I had ADD. I had all these other things that were kind of limiting my learning ability, but when I found interest in something, I went all in. Okay. So think back, because we're born empowered. We're born with our personality. We're born with something that is going to really, really, really create something really powerful as ourselves. And what happens is parents, teachers, other kids, they begin to form who you get to be. Has anybody ever told you to be quiet? Don't speak. You can be seen but not heard. Like any of that stuff. All of that stuff starts forming us. But I think we know that. Okay. So right now, ask what you want. And just like there's no pressure, there's no judgment. It's exploration. It's possibility. Ask what you want. Ask what comes up for you when you say out loud what you really want. When I say I really want to create, to buy property and create Ecovana, which I'll talk about later with Charlie, that's something that we really want to create. What comes up for me is like that negative self-talk of, oh, how are we ever going to make that happen? How is this going to happen? And like all this stuff comes up. And it just doesn't benefit. All I want to do is just play around with my imagination, not just vision, but my imagination of what all of that is going to look like, feel like, smell like. And just imagine all the smiling faces around us when we have those campsites built and that space created that in which Charlie and I live in, and we have all these people come to visit and have events and stuff like that. So yeah, and it should scare you a little bit. It should be epic. It should be something that's like, oh my God, what if I created that? That would be so amazing. That would be so amazing. And then you go underneath, what are the negative self-talks? Like, and just journal them, say them out loud. Like, these are the things. And then, so spend an entire page on your journal. What are the consistent negative self-talks that come up for me? And then on the next page, parallel to that one, replace those with all the positive things that you want to be, that you know of yourself, are capable of. And that's what's living between where you are now and that reality, that vision, that thing that you want to create for yourself. So yeah, imagination, all your senses. And I work with actors on elevating sensory, and we'll do those exercises at some other point as the streams progress. All right, so this is kind of fun. I'm glad you guys are here. And then also feel free in the chat, like what's landing for you, if you have any questions. And I'll check in at these. Bonsai Merlin. Welcome to my first full stream. All right. So we start with the imagination, we start with the vision, and then I shift. Whatever way of being, things that are happening in my life, negative self-talk, I acknowledge it and I shift it. And sometimes it takes practice. It took me a long time to get over my scarcity, right? My keeping score. If I do this, then I must get something in return, rather than just being generous and giving. All right. So here are some things that I hear, some things that I've heard other people say that they hear. I have to do everything myself. No one listens to me. Nothing ever goes my way. I don't want to be judged. So I don't want to be judged prevents us from doing anything, right? What are they going to say about us? I don't want to fail. I don't feel like it. It's just not who I am. That's a big one. So we can either allow ourselves to, well, that's just who I am. That's just the way I am. Or we can empower ourselves and surround ourselves with people that are promoting us, elevating us, so that we get to shift and you get to be, who would you like to be, right? What would you like to be? And all that can begin now. How do I want to be seen? I want to be seen as loving, kind, generous, powerful, inspirational, creative. All of those things are how I want to be. Well, I don't have to wait. I don't have to wait to Ecovana to be those things. I be those things now, and then I am seen that way, and I end up generating that life, that in my life. All right. So let's see. Got any questions? Anything happening over here? Okay, check my previous message. I'm trying to break down my trauma cycles. Feel like the hardest part of everything I do. My abusive mother grained it into me since I was a child. So when I am ready to try something new, the initial reaction is gut-wrenching fear. I know how to get dirty, but the fear of rejection and overwhelming. Not that I'm scared of rejection, just the abuse that may have come along with it. Okay, awesome. So that's from Funk Shop. Okay, that's beautiful. So the acknowledgement of that and the importance of you kind of like looking at that and without self-judgment and just going, this happened. This experience happened in my life. And this is a much deeper perspective shift in how you approach that experience. And it's not easy, okay? It can be very difficult. So what we begin to do is we start to shift our interpretation of what happened. We start finding gratitude, I know that's crazy, for the experience. Gratitude in your mom giving you life. Gratitude in how strong you are, how empathetic you are, how compassionate you are because of those experiences in your life. Okay? So the rejection, so actors deal with rejection all the time, right? Quote unquote rejection. I know it's crazy to say, but I never in my entire career as an actor ever felt rejected. Ever. Because I interpreted it, because I knew what I wanted to create. I knew I was going somewhere. I knew no matter what, I was going to create this career for myself. And so what I did was I interpreted the rejection as a kind of an obstacle, quote unquote rejection, as a opportunity to adjust, an opportunity to say, well, I'm not quite ready. How do I need to get ready to be prepared for a role like this? How do I need to get ready business-wise to be seen as an actor that could create an experience, be credible for an experience of leading a film or leading a show or whatever? So I just continued to do the work. I allowed the feedback to empower me. So trying something new, obviously, having that experience, and Bonsai, I'll touch on that too. Having that experience is an opportunity for you to, just acknowledging that experience is something that comes up for you. I'm afraid to try something new. I'm afraid that I'm not going to get it right. I'm afraid that people are going to judge me. Even doing this stream, I've done television shows, live performances, public speaking, movies, and even doing this stream, I let the mechanics get in the way of beginning today. I overthink. I'm definitely not a perfectionist, but I see all the possibilities and I'm like, I want to create all this, and it prevents me from even starting. So that's just what we get to do. We just get to put something out there. And the great thing about this community with Bonsai and Cuckoo Mama and the Funk Shop and all the people and DeVell House, obviously, that have come into this community are here to support you in that. The Funk Shop, we're avid supporters. We really, really want you to create something really magical. And so surrounding yourself with those empowerment players is really going to serve you. Or if I don't dream big enough, then my disappointment isn't big if I don't get what I want. Yeah, so that's a big one. Like, what if I don't get it? That's a big one. And it's such a kind of a catch-22 conundrum. I'm not even gonna try because what if I don't get it? But what if you get really close, right? What if you get even something even better comes of it? So we can't the things that are going to get us there, don't even worry about those things. Having the vision and then beginning to take action, beginning to take moves, committed action and movement toward what it is that you want to create. Yes, absolutely. Learn from the experiences, gain from the experiences, and shift how you relate to those experiences. Yes, DeVell House has definitely explored overcoming perfectionism, right? It's an incredible gift that he has. He is able to really streamline things, create systems that are efficient, It also can prevent him from really taking risks, which being on Twitch has really supported him, and it's been a lot of fun to support him and watch him go through those experiences. And obviously he's bringing, and this is the important thing, he's bringing joy and fun and love and light and experiences to the world. That's the thing that's bigger than him. It's bigger than his perfection. It's bigger than, and it's in alignment with who he is, right? It's in alignment with who he is. And it stems from his upbringing. His mom and dad, very rigid, very strict, very practical, and he experienced that which actually has served him, and now he gets to break the things that don't work anymore and move those aside so that he can be free, loving, joyful person that he is. All right. Yeah, get ready for work, Kukumama, and love you. All right. And yeah, perfectionism, that can be an inhibitor. I learned a long time ago that the only thing that's perfect is imperfection. I did a lot of off-Broadway shows in New York, and the times where something would go awry in a live show was the audience's most favorite experiences. If I approach everything through the lens of the character, I'll tell one of those stories at some point when I was doing True West off-Broadway, and it was an amazing experience. Audience was there for the entire show, run of the accident that was happening, and over the course of 3 or 4 scenes, and it brought the house down. It was amazing. It was an incredible experience for all of those people that were there. One of the write-ups in one of the New York theater magazines talked about it. They happened to be there on that day, and the audience absolutely loved it. So yeah, and here on this other side, there's some of the scarcity mindsets things. Like, I don't have the right relationships, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, my morals are too high, my moralis. So I have too much integrity to succeed. All men, women, people are the same. So you're blanketing, like, I'm never going to find a partner because all men are assholes, or all women are greedy, or whatever it is, the story that you've made up. Guys, it only takes one person, right? I've been fortunate that I've had a lot of really loving, amazing relationships in my life, and they all led me to my relationship with Charlie. And I'll tell that experience at some point too. I don't know how to talk to my boss. So this is a big one too. This thing frustrates me so much that when you have a thing that's bothering you, a thing that you're wanting to communicate, and you're afraid of being judged or being, being too direct or hurting someone's feelings, I just don't say anything. And so I start spinning these stories around in my head about what a thing is. And when we actually communicate, we realize that it's not the truth at all. Most often, we've just spun it in our heads in a way that ends up sabotaging us in the long run anyway. All right. All right. And cool. So, and I feel so uncreative. I feel that way quite often. And then there's but what if? But what if this happens? What if I fail? What if I, get dumped? What if I get rejected, etc.? So here are some things that we can talk about, and if any of this kind of sticks out, or you can connect with any of it, throw it up in the chat. And it's really important to explore this from the angle of not judging yourself. Just allow it to be a neutral thing. It's just neutral. It's just is what it is, right? I have to do everything myself. All right, so this is a big one. Oh my gosh, I'm carrying the world on my shoulders. I have to do everything myself. I can't trust anyone to do anything for me because they always don't do it right. They never do it right. And so then you become this martyr. You become this victim to circumstance because you have to be the one to do everything. And no one supports me. Well, you've not allowed them to support you. You've not allowed them. You've not empowered them. You've not allowed other people to do something for you because it's not going to be done right? Okay, no one listens to me. Okay, what's underneath that? I don't have worth. It's a story. It's an unconscious intention that you're creating to tell yourself this fabrication, this not truth, so that you don't use your, so that you don't use your voice. Okay. I have to work really hard some days to get out of my way and do the things I love without expectations, mainly streaming, DJing, and streaming. But then I'm like, fuck it, because I love music and the joy I got when I get out of my way. So this is awesome, Kukumama. This is really, really important. And this goes along with what it is that you want to create in the world. And it's something bigger than yourself. What I'm hearing you say here, or seeing you say here, why don't more people come? So that's not celebrating the people that are there, right? Now, how do I? So that can be feedback. If you want more people to come, awesome. So look at what's working and what's not working, right? So you showing up is working. People are coming. You've got a following. People enjoy so all of that is working. Okay, what might not be working? So what are things that you're telling yourself that are downplaying your creative genius, right? What are things in your communication with yourself or others that are downplaying the validity and the power that you bring to the table? So Nightbreed, welcome in. So if you are just joining in, I'm going through my Trust Build webinar, and we're communicating on things on how to build trust with self and how to build trust with environment and circumstances and others. So I don't want to be judged. What's underneath that is fear of being wrong. So somewhere someone told you you can never be wrong. Here's my blanket thought on hi Nightbreed. Thank you for jumping in. And hello. Here's my statement on right and wrong. First of all, in creativity, there's no such thing as right and wrong. There's just not. Like creation means something that's never been created. So how can it be right and wrong if it's never been there before? Imagination, vision, something in the future that you're bringing into your present reality can't be right and wrong, right? I also believe that the only evil, the only wrong is subjugation. When we subject someone to something, when, the extreme of that is slavery, is war, is something like that. When we subject something to someone. So if I approach everything, and I never, ever, ever use the words right and wrong, ever, especially in creation. Actually, never use right and wrong. Just play with that today and catch yourself if you say, oh, I didn't do that right. Or, oh, I did that wrong. I always do that wrong. If you're saying things like that, then shift it into a way, oh, well, that didn't work. Oh, that works. Let me explore that more, all right? So I'm going to address Kukumama's last thing. Am I wasting my time DJing and streaming? But then I'm like, fuck it, because I love the music and the joy I get when I get out of my own way. Beautiful. Now let's take that a step further. Let's take that from where you are and put it outside of yourself. What is the joy, the love, the music others get when you are when you're DJing and when you're getting out of your own way? Who are the women that you are empowering and inspiring by showing up. Women that may be telling the same story that you're telling or living in the fear, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can do that. She's doing that. I can do that. I can create something. Why not? So this is really great. So like what you said at the very end, because I love the music and the joy I got when I get out of my own way. Yes. Now you've addressed that. If you acknowledge that, you've empowered yourself. Now put it outside of yourself and empower and bring joy and eliminate those negative conversations with yourself as much as possible and shift those into, I am powerful, I am awesome, I take up space, I'm love, I'm joy, and all of those things, and bring the music and bring the fun, because someone out there is watching you and saying, oh, I can do that too. Right? So it's a matter of the bigger vision has to be bigger than ourselves. And what is it that we can bring to the world? And who is that little girl out there that was like you that gets to be empowered by you? Okay, so that is the reminder. That's the consistent reminder. So, all right. I have too much integrity to succeed. So I did this Facebook thing, right? So the Facebook question was, what do you feel like is getting in the way of you and your success? So I got a surprising amount of people that were saying, I have too much integrity to succeed, meaning that I'm not a cheat, I'm not a liar, I'm not abusive, I don't want to step on people. All of those things came up, and it really surprised me, because their perspective of the world that we live in is that you have to be a cheat, you have to be a liar, you have to take advantage of people in order to get ahead. Well, I don't think that's true. You can believe that to be true, and it will be true, but I don't think that's true, because I know a lot of really incredible people that are incredibly successful. So I don't want to talk to my boss, communication, but what if? What if this happens? Okay. All right. How lack of trust shows up for the creative. Okay, we've touched on some of this. Oh, this is so fun. Okay. Let's see. Am I missing anything? Let's see. Okay, not trusting my choices. So I've made a choice, or I'm sitting in front of a choice, and I'm just spending a lot of time, and I do this. I've done this way too often. Here's two choices, and I'm not taking committed action on them, and I'm not going to trust myself with making that choice. Choosing victim rather than hero. Okay, so I'm going to parallel this to playing a role in a script. Okay, if you haven't heard me say this, I'll say it here now. It's going to be on a t-shirt. Who is the only person in a script that can prevent a character from getting what they want? The only person in a script that can prevent a character from getting what they want. Throw it up in the chat. Devel House, you can't answer. Who is the only person in a script that can prevent? There we go. Bonsai, bingo. The writer. Yes, the writer is the only person in a script that can prevent a character from getting what they want. So, if I'm the writer of my life, if I choose that I am the writer of my life, and yes, if you're religious, then you can say God writes my life. I disagree with that, because I think God works through us. And I'm the one that's writing my life. I'm the one that's making the choices. I'm the one that's creating what it is that I want to create. So if I'm the writer of my life, the only person that's getting in the way of what I want is me. All right. So inside of a script, you can have the entire script. You can have the context of a script. And there is quite often the antagonist, protagonist, and then there's also a victim to circumstances inside of those scripts. The victim, victim to war, victim to an abusive relationship, victim to a robbery, whatever, that's the victim in the context of the script. But that quote-unquote victim is never playing the victim. I'm never going to be a victim to a circumstance in a script and play the victim. I'm always going to fight for what I want. I'm always going to be the hero of my journey. Now, the writer can write me off. The writer can have something horrible happen to me or not get my way. I can't do anything about that, right? But I'm going to be the hero of my story, and I'm never going to play the victim. So ask yourself right now, am I the hero of my story, or am I allowing these thoughts, this mindset, these things that are not working to keep me playing small? All right, so next step, blame and shame. That I am victim to the things that are outside of myself, the circumstances outside of myself. I was raised poor. I didn't get an education. I'm in an abusive relationship. I'm not talented enough. I didn't get the right skills. I didn't go to the right college. Blah 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 blah. So, or I'm going to feel shame about something that I've done or who I've been. I'm going to feel shame around something. And then on top of that, this is what I love, I feel shame that I feel ashamed, right? How do we go into that circle? This. Okay. Here we go. And thank you, Devel House. Thank you, Charles, for stepping up and fixing whatever is issued. Okay. Blocking of feelings, impulse, and intuition. So I do this entire thing on cycle of communication, which we'll do at another stream, but brief rundown. Cycle of communication. It's a 4-step process. Cycle of communication starts with items outside of ourselves. These are all the elements, all of the senses that we have. The senses like the smell, touch, sound, information, words, etc. all come in to create a thought. So they enter into our brain, create a thought. That thought creates an emotion, and that emotion creates a reaction, an action. So a thought can create tears, that's an action. A thought can create behavior. A thought can create an emotion that makes me want to throw a chair against the wall, whatever that is. So it is in that process. So there's 2 parts here. One, as an actor, as an entertainer, you never want to block any of those things, right? So whatever I'm feeling, I'm going to react. I'm going to express. I'm going to fuel. What happens if we've been told to not feel? If we've been told that our feelings don't matter? If we've been told that we want to that you're not worthy of having those feelings, then we shut down. So as an actor, I'm going to shut down. I've been taught to shut down when I want to have those feelings. So I don't have access to those feelings. Why do I not have access to those feelings? Because they've been hidden, they've been petrified over time, right? I was trained to not express myself. I was trained to not have opinions. I was trained that way. All right, so once we acknowledge that and we free ourselves up, we can have all these beautiful emotions and we can express ourselves in real time based on impulse and intuition. And that really works in a script. That really works on a set. It doesn't necessarily work in real life. Right? So if it doesn't work in real life, and why does it not work in real life? Because the behavior of choosing to throw a chair through the window is just not going to work, or punch somebody out, or whatever. Like whatever fueling our reaction is just not going to work. Okay. So what do? We take a more stoic approach, which doesn't mean shut down, unemotional, cut off. It doesn't mean that. It means being able to acknowledge our feelings. Oh, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this. And this is where it comes from. I feel rejected. I feel hurt. I feel, incompetent. I feel less than. I feel like a failure. Whatever that is. I get to acknowledge it and not judge it. Okay, I feel that. And I'm going to have those feelings. I'm just going to sit with those feelings and have those feelings. How I react, this is another thing. How I react to something is different, is always going to be different than how someone else reacts to something. because of our life experience, right? You can tell me straight up, hey, Breon, go do this. And I'm like, yes, I will do that. Because I'm just here to get the result, right? I'm here to get the thing done that needs to be done. I don't have any emotional feeling or attachment to being told what to do or being direct with, right? Someone else, on the other hand, may take offense or may feel like issue with how direct you are with them. So if that person, I get to approach them a little differently. Hey, it would be really supportive if you went over and did this so that we can get to this place, right? If I communicate with Charlie, hey, go do this. Like, he's going to take offense. He's going to be like a little like put offish, right? And we've communicated and we worked through that, right? How to communicate with one another effectively. And then here puts us back in the victim seat. Waiting for others to choose for me. That can definitely put us back into that way I can blame others for if something goes wrong. Waiting for success to knock at my door. No success is ever going to knock on your door. Now, you can manifest, you can open yourself up, you can visualize and imagine a circumstance happening. This is what I need in my life. I am open to receiving that in my life, but that is action. You're physically, emotionally, and spiritually opening yourself up for that experience to occur. Okay? If you're not getting those results, if you're not getting the result that you want, you got to go deeper. You're responsible for everything, right? So I've got to go deeper. What am I really telling myself? I'm really telling myself that I'm not worthy of love. I'm really telling myself that I'm not worthy of finances. And so underneath all of that is the unconscious, right? And so that's what's creating the results. So you just got to go deeper. So that's where you're in full responsibility, hero of your own story, bam, bam, bam. This has been a big one for me in the past year, not showing up and being seen. Every time I show up and am and being seen, like at a film festival or like a speaking gig or an opportunity for me to show up as a mentor, as a leader, every time I get work. I get something that happens that moves the dial forward in some way. If I'm hiding, if I'm sheltering myself, if I'm closing off, then I'm just going to nothing is ever going to happen for me, right? And we just keep perpetuating the same story over and over again. All right. Throw in the chat what's landing for you. Bonsai says guilty. What landed? What's working? Do you want any clarity on anything? You want to share anything? And then this is big for creators as well, and all you guys that are streaming and creating an audience and giving your gift. Bonsai, you giving your gift of food and nurturing. I told you on Sunday, I love having you in the background on Sunday. We were doing a lot of cleanup and a lot of, kind of straightening up. And it just feels so good to have Bonsai Merlin playing in the background, because it makes it feel like home. There's a nurturing to her. So I think everybody on my stream is probably following her. But if you're not, please follow Bonsai. Bonsai Merlin. Bonsai. And then limiting your imagination. So all of this kind of falls under the same category. Not visualizing, imagining big enough, and allowing all those other things to come into play to prevent you from getting really what you want. Jealousy or a lack of support when someone else wins. All right. Oh, gosh, you guys. Oh, this one. I think if I could just wave a magic wand, I think the one thing that I would eradicate is this feeling or this emotion, this thing that's happening in the world where if someone else gets something, it means that I'm going to lose something. Or if in order for me to win something, someone else must lose something, right? In order for me to get ahead, I must create lack for someone else. And this mindset of, manifest destiny, I think it all kind of comes from a similar mindset as that. Out for self, out, I do this. Well, why can't they? Well, the why can't they question is really the one that you get to sincerely ask and then listen to why they feel they can't, right? And so then this opens up dialogue. Oh, that's a good one, Bonsai. I need to get better at not selling myself short and taking suggestions without feeling like it's criticism. Okay, great. I have experience with that. And for me, it comes from like this need to be right or this need to prove myself. That's where it comes from for me. I had this this need to be right my way. It's right my way. And so when somebody offers me advice or information, I used to always go, I know. And so what I wasn't doing was allowing them to say out loud their perspective. I was shutting them down. So if somebody comes to me with a suggestion, someone comes to me with an opinion or something, I just listen. Now, my need to be right is triggered, right? I need to prove to them that I know this already. So in order for that person to feel empowered, in order for that person to feel heard, and usually they're offering their advice or their opinions based on some sort of needing and wanting to be heard, and if I don't allow that, then I'm restricting the abundant flow of communication, right? I'm restricting the abundant flow of communication and possibility, and I'm limiting their empowerment. What I usually say is like, oh, I hear you. Thank you for that. And still, sometimes I walk away with, I need to prove myself. I need to prove that I know that already, right? So, all right. So illustration, performing, acting. Okay, this is when we put on a facade. We're not really being truthful, authentic in our performances. And this is and not truly being authentic in our lives. So authenticity, for me, authenticity is communicating in a way that is reflective of your emotional experience. So, hey, I feel really hurt by that statement, or I feel really sad. I feel really, oh my gosh, I feel jealous. Like I'm feeling jealous. That's not on the other person. That's just me being in a safe place to say, hey, these are my feelings. They're not right and wrong, right? Again, back to the not being right or wrong. It's a matter of just saying, oh my gosh, I feel this. Where does that come from? Okay, cool. And then the other people in your life get to respect you for that. You get to not judge them. They get to not judge you. One of the biggest, greatest things I love about my relationship with Charlie is that we don't judge each other. We communicate. There's nothing that he can't tell me that I'm going to judge him for. I might not agree. I might not see or understand it from his perspective, but I'm going to open myself up to the possibility of doing so. All right. Cool. So authenticity, illustration, performing, acting. When I put on a facade to appease other people, sometimes that comes from the angle of like, I need to be liked. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be judged. Whatever. So what do they want me to be? Oh, this is a big one. Spending time worried about what other people want you to be. I need to be slim. I need to, whatever. Like worried about like what other people are going to think, to navigate, to construct the beingness that you are. It is your freaking life. It's your freaking life. You get to be who you want to be. And that starts with saying, hey, I want to. Now, on the other side is you can say, who do I want to be seen as? How do I want to be seen? I want to be seen as generous, loving, kind, wise. I want to be considered courageous. I want to be considered loving. I want to be considered powerful. I want to be considered, like creative, genius. Those are things I want to be considered as, right? I begin to create that myself. I'm not worried if they're going to receive me that way. I begin to be that right now. Bam, done. So some people are going to see you that way. Some people aren't. Okay. So what can you do for me? This is a big one. Especially in the industry, the way to move forward in relationships, and I know that Charlie and I have observed this in Twitch. The way to move forward in relationship is to be contributing. Be generous. Go in and be contributing. Go in and be generous. Go in and make the connections. Go in and show up in people's feeds. Go in and show up in people's lives, and make a difference there. Obviously, Twitch is a really good mechanic to teach us that, right? Okay, so these are kind of a little more trivial, but they can show up. I can't have a relationship while I'm pursuing my goals. Completely fabricated untruth. Seeking approval or validation, yeah. So that's been a hiccup for me. Is that like wanting to prove myself? I need validation. So this is different from our love languages. So if you guys have taken the love language quiz, that's really important. If you're in a relationship, or if you're not in a relationship and you need to kind of connect with like what works for you, I think mine are words of appreciation, adulation, expressions of gratitude, things like that. I'm always giving my thank you. I'm always giving my gratitude. I'm always elevating other people because that's what I love. And I feel like that really supports. Sparkles Queen Michelle in the house. All right. So that's one of my love languages. Intimacy and connection, physical touch, that's another. I think those are my top two. So my love language requires it elevates me. I want to be encouraged, motivated, positive in reinforcement. Those are the things that really work for me. It doesn't work for me to be like, oh, well, you should have done this, or, you did this wrong, or again, the right and wrong thing. What helps me is share what I bring to the table and elevate that, because that's going to motivate me. Now, checking in with, and Charlie's love language is act of service, right? So, which makes a really great pair because I love being of service. And he loves being of service. So it all works. So connecting with that and what it is that you need, that'll kind of play into my boundary-free life webinar that I'll do, conversation at some point. All right, so got that. And then down here, bonsai, the very last one, not able to receive feedback, coaching, or direction. That's where we grow. And, when we receive feedback, when we receive an opportunity, what's landing, what's working, what's not working, I can either siphon that out because, well, that's not the direction that I want to go, or I can go, oh, obviously this way of me communicating is not landing, or this approach isn't working, people aren't connecting with it, so let me shift. What do I get to shift? What's not working? And then say, hey, empowerment group or people in my life, what do you feel like I can do? How do you feel like I'm being that's not working? And then receive the feedback and go, oh wow, I didn't even realize I was experiencing that. Didn't even realize I was experiencing that, my audience was experiencing that. And then you shift. And then it might be hard to hear. It might be something that's hard to receive. Okay? And so you get to have the feelings around that and then shift. Bam. Done. So here are some solutions. What is between where you are now and where you want to be? This is just about clarity of vision, playing around with your imagination. I couldn't sleep last night. So I got up and went and sat on the couch, and I just started thinking, imagining seeing myself do this stream today, seeing and playing around with what it feels like to be at Ecovana, when Charlie and I buy that property, and just being able to play in that world of imagination, I ended up being able to rest and fall asleep after that. Who do I get to be daily in every moment that creates results? Courageous, responsible, connected. These are the things that I get to be every day in order to create the results that I want. I don't always know the mechanic. It's just about me or the situation or the thing that's going to happen. I just get to step into it and take a risk and step in and take a challenge, receive the challenge. Okay, results driven. Okay, this is a big one too, but not attached to the results. Like, I'm not attached to whatever happens. I'm not attached to the circumstance. I'm not attached that it has to look like this, expectations. Another thing to parallel script analysis and storytelling with life is expectations are great in scripts, right? I'm specific. I want this girl. I want this boy. I want them to love me. That's the only one for me. Meanwhile, that expectation is very limiting because over here you have this other boy or this other girl or person that's wanting to love you and you're not seeing them because your expectations are so rigid, right? Okay. So then other possibilities open up. So letting go of those expectations. This is one thing that I do, and we have a big yard, so it's fun to go and do that in the yard, is whenever I'm in my future and I'm like feeling afraid, definitely getting better, letting others know what works best to get through my thick skull. Yes, that's so great. So, it's just like how to let others communicate with you that's going to be effective. Yeah. And then acknowledging, hey, I have a thick skull, I'm stubborn. That's really beneficial in creating results, Bonsai, right? Like you're very results driven, I would assume. You're very proactive, you take committed action, you know what you're talking about. You're a direct communicator. That's one of the things I love about your stream as well. And so there's an element of you that is right? There's an element of you that is like my way or the highway. So having an acknowledgement of that, and it's powerful when used. And on the other side, it might be preventing you from being able to navigate a certain relationship or a strategy of doing something or the next step in your career, your online experience on Twitch or job or whatever. Okay, awesome. So best results driven but attached to outcomes. Okay, got that. I see. Oh, so what I do is I go into the yard and if I'm living in my future or I'm in like fear, I'm apprehensive about something, I just bring myself into the moment and I see, I hear, I feel. I acknowledge who I am. I say, I see flower. I hear bird. I feel tired. I see, and I just acknowledge all of my feelings, all of my beingness, everything that is in the moment where I am right now. And it brings me into this peace and tranquility. So the other thing is you are not your feelings. You are not your results. Right? So that you're not, these things don't define you. Your beingness defines you. Your beingness of generous, gratitude, loving, those are the things that define you. Your feelings, those are not definitive of you. Okay. All right. Letting go of things and people and thoughts that no longer deserve you. So next week, I'm going to be doing a stream every day for the rest of this week. I'm playing around, seeing what works. Let me know in the stream, in the feed, guys, or on Discord. I think I have that link up. That's the next thing is I get to learn how to use Discord. What you would like to communicate or what landed for you in this, what worked, what didn't work. Utilize, here's the other thing. So often we prevent ourselves from providing feedback to people because we're afraid of hurting their feelings. We're afraid of being rejected. We're also afraid of, oh, Daddy DJ's in the house. I'm going to get one of those buttons that make a orchestra anytime somebody comes in. Welcome in, oh, Daddy. So when we don't communicate or we don't offer people that are in our sphere, our group, feedback, we're not only not trusting ourselves, we're not trusting them to receive that feedback in a way that's going to make them better, right? So in turn, it is selfish to not offer someone feedback in a way that's communicative and works, right? And so instead, this person is just kind of, keeps doing what they're doing and they don't even know. And we've got an idea or some feedback that might support them and we keep it to ourselves. Okay. So yeah. All right. I'm actually just kind of like, how far am I? Why won't that? All right. We're gonna end. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. So, all right. I'm gonna kind of streamline through the next few and then call it a stream, and then oh, Daddy, I got you, buddy. Thank you very much for being here. I think that's one of the things that I want to create too, is like you can be in this. I'm going to have special guests on. I'm going to have like actor friends, director friends, producer friends, entrepreneurs. I'm going to have special guests on. I kind of want to create this where you can have me like have this stream in your background and you can be driving to work. You can have all those things. So it's almost like an opportunity, but also it's an opportunity for you to come in and get support in the chat as well. So asking for what you need. This is a big one. No, I want to go back. There we go. And then this will lead us into the webinar I do around living a boundary-free life. The boundary-free life is a process in which you initially create boundaries and then eventually you become so powerful and strong and committed to your vision and know who you are that you have no longer any needs to set boundaries because you're so committed to your vision. Those that are going to infiltrate your boundaries or take advantage of you just fall to the wayside. So anyway, that's the abridged version of that. Relationships, how to ask and then what to do. You just create relationships that are going to support what you need. They elevate you. They're positive. They communicate with you in a way that or they're willing to communicate with you. Maybe they don't do it right, quote, right, in a way that works first, but you communicate with them and they love you so much that they want to shift how they communicate with you to be effective. Ask what you need in relationships, environment, decluttering, clean growth, inspiration, and then you're asking what you need from your environment. I need my environment to be this. I need my environment to feel creative. And then you start creating, taking action to create the environment that you want. And then from yourself, I need consistency. This is personal. I need consistency. I need appreciation. I need self-care. I need alone time. I need social time. Those are the things that I need, right? So I'm asking myself to give myself consistency, give myself appreciation, give myself self-care, give myself alone time, give myself time to be social. Okay. All right. And so this is something you guys, if you do journal or if you want to kind of take an action step here today and join me starting next week when I do my 21-day transformation experience, then you can go ahead and start playing around with this today if you do journal. So letting go of these three things starting now, and just like it's not an overnight process. It's just an acknowledgement of these are the things that are holding me back. So things in my life that are not supportive. I don't hold on to I have very limited clothes. We have a lot of fun clothes for the DJ stream and stuff. We like to do that. But I have the basic necessity of clothes. And every year I go through my wardrobe and I clean out t-shirts or whatever that I don't use. Things that don't serve me. And then people that don't elevate me, people that don't support, my vision, people that are kind of a drain. I let those people go. I mean, I give them an opportunity to shift. And then these negative thoughts that kind of come up, and just, acknowledging them. Oh my gosh, I just told myself I wasn't good enough, or I just told myself that it didn't matter, or I didn't matter. Okay. And then, what are you willing to let go of right now? Like, just take one thing. Like, what am I willing to let go of right now? It could be a small thing. Like, it could be like a few shirts in your closet you want to get rid of. Or it could be a big thing. Like, I'm willing to let go of, like, this one thing that keeps getting in my way. And then commit to that and just start exploring it and shifting it, replacing it with something that really works for you. And then... so this is an exercise I usually do. I have people kind of write that down. Take 5 minutes to write some things in your life that you want to write down. No, it's not the closet. Like the shirt. It's true. A shirt with 100 holes in it. Yeah. Well, those are usually my favorite shirts. But we have one armoire that is full of a lot of clothes, and the other one is not so much. And that's what we call passive aggressive. Okay, so like the shirt, no, not the closet. Okay. So take some time today, write these things down. And then just choose one thing that you're really like you really want to just let go of, whatever what you want to let go of. And then ask yourself, like, by holding on to these things, this is a big one. How are you being impacted right now by holding on to those things? Right? I know that I have some habits that are a lovely distraction. Lovely distraction. So I'm either going to shift those, I'm going to move those things out of my way to open space for another opportunity, something that's going to benefit me. Or I could even use those things to progress forward. For example, I love Twitter. I mean, I don't love it. I just think it's a really interesting platform to observe human experience, okay? And so one of my streams is going to be Twitter feed day, so maybe Twitter Tuesdays or something. And I just go through my Twitter feed and I just look at how people are reacting to certain things and like what's coming up and how people are like utilizing their need to be right, fear of rejection, all of that stuff is playing out in the space of Twitter. And how some people can go in and create relationships even in the most antagonistic of circumstances, right? How they are, how they can shift someone's perspective just by being in a way that is counter to the hostility. Okay. All right. DeVal House, perfectionism. All right. Well, it's so interesting because sometimes, our thing is just always going to be our thing. Like for DeVal House, perfectionism is always going to be a thing. But having an intimate and loving relationship with that perfectionism in a way that he doesn't judge it, he doesn't feel ashamed about himself. It's just an acknowledgement. Oh, I'm being perfect here. It's limiting me. Okay. So perfectionism, my scarcity, my keeping score collateral is probably always going to be something that comes up for me because it was in my upbringing. Now, I have definitely gotten better of letting go. I've definitely gotten better of acknowledging it. Oh, I'm keeping score. I'm keeping collateral. Like I can let that go now. Okay? it's probably always going to be there. It's just, how do I relate to it when it comes? How do I acknowledge it when it comes? I take it neutrally, being I'm keeping score, I'm being in collateral, but then I let it go. And I shift and I replace that with, I'm in abundance. I'm in generosity. I'm contributing. I can trust that nothing is going to be taken from me. Okay? All right. Okay, so I'm super stoked about this, and I'm glad I finally got all these mechanics put together so that I can create this experience for you guys. There's going to be a lot of stuff. Like, I'm going to have commands, like you can have me do a quick 1 minute monologue. I'm going to have special guest actor friends of mine that you guys might know come on. I'm going to have games and exercises. Charlie and I might even do a stream together. I don't know. We'll talk about all that. Well, we've already talked about all that. What we're building, what we're creating, and then I'm going to have all this stuff come up. Let me know. You can go into my Discord and let me know, what's landed. Where's my next step, right? I just want to know mechanically what's worked, what's not working, and so I can really move forward with serving as you guys as best as possible. All right. So that's it for today. What we'll have... Oh, this is a really good question. So if I don't choose to shift certain things in my life, and this has been really on my mind the last couple of days. If I don't choose to shift certain things in my life, then where will I be in a year if I don't make a change right now? I'm going to be in the same place. I don't want to be in the same place. I want to constantly evolve. I want to buy that property and create Ecovana. I want to go to the next level. So in order for me to do that, I get to shift some things that are not working for me, right? And that's a constant thing through our entire lives, right? We're constantly shifting, constantly getting rid of things that aren't working. And then think, who in your life is going to be affected by your choices of either staying the same or moving things out? What's going to happen if it does happen? And then play around in that wonderland of imagination and how incredibly beautiful that experience is going to be when you make the choice to go for it and make the choice to not stay the same. So yeah, I get to update this for sure. Where are you going and who are you going to serve with the gift that you are? We landed on that with Cuckoo Mama. Whose story are you going to tell? This is the question of are you going to tell the story of someone that's playing, limited game? Or are you going to tell the story? Are you going to be the writer of a story of someone that is going to challenge themselves, provide incredible experiences for themselves? Thank you, Bonsai. Yeah, so great. So we get to be support for Bonsai. I do too. I get into those self-beat-ups all the time. And what I can look back on in my life experience is that when I imagine something, so you can see some of these pictures here. This was on me on top of a mountain in down here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but that's me on top of the mountain in Colombia, Puerto Inaritu. And I was being the role of Evan in Embrace of the Serpent. And when I got there, I climbed on top of that mountain and I just laid down. And that's me in an epic state of bliss and gratitude. And the script supervisor took that picture and months later sent it to me. And I didn't even know she took the picture. And in that moment was me realizing that I had gotten there because I had imagined it. I had imagined it many years before. The middle picture is a play that I did called Bent at the Mark Taper Forum. That's, why am I drawing a blank? That's Gandalf. Sir Ian McKellen. Picture with him and our cast with Mosse Kaufman and and the writer of the play. And then that's me in the canoe in the Amazon jungle, and then that's me teaching Japanese kids acting, which was really amazing. And then, all of this stuff that I've created has been because of imagination, of contribution, being of generosity, and going out in the world and taking risks. And so I'm really looking forward to the next step in all that as well. So all of that, there we go. That's our day. Join me on Discord. Follow me on the Instagram. I know I see. Oh yeah, I was gonna be prepared for Twitter today, so my mouth is dry. So I'm going to go and get some fresh air. This is so fun, and I love this platform. And I love to see what is going to be in store for us all and how I can support you in the next level, the next step in your lives. So, all right. So that's it. I think all you guys are following each other already. If you're not, please check everyone out. Kukumama, Bonsai Marlin, Devel House, and join me on Discord. And then I'll see you again tonight. I will be hopping on to Charlie's stream and dancing the night away, and you get to see my other personality. All right, love you guys. Have an amazing, amazing day. Join me on Discord. Let me know what works, what didn't work, and what you'd like to see in the future. Let's create a community and let's shift some narratives in the world. Okay, mwah, much love. I should raid somebody. I want to practice that. How do I do that? I don't know if I can. I mean, I can do anything. Everything's possible. See, I don't know if I can. I can do anything. Everything's possible. How do you raid? Oh, I think that's over here. Yas. Yas. Yasaraptor.
Okay, type slash. Oh, you have to see this. Dude.
I know Vanessa Lopez. She's funny. Or fun. That's the only one channels that I follow that's on right now. Hey. So, who?
I'm just trying to think if they would even know who you are.
I think she follows me.
Do Audrey enjoys.
How do you do that?
So type slash Ray.
Audrey.
No.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, that's fine. Audrey
right there?
enjoys, yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we go! My first raid!
I hope that.
Alright. We're gonna hang out with Audrey enjoys. Did I do it? Yes! Woohoo!